Good morning, everyone. This morning we'll be discussing the Unit 7, which is the oral questions and informal observation. So our topic is comprises of the following: characteristics of informal observation and questions, guidelines for using informal observations, basic techniques to document observations, anecdotal records, and lastly, checklist and rating scale. So before anything else, let us first define what is informal observation. So it is a way that teachers can collect qualitative data about students' progress and development without relying on scores from their academic work or reports from other teachers. So, informal observations involves a less structured and less elaborate approach to observation. So, this method is suited to instructional planning and day-to-day program operation. This is also called naturalistic observation, which is describing behavior in natural setting. So, it is the observation in which teachers doesn't rely to the scores of the students or doesn't rely to their academic stand or whatever. And next is informal questions. So these are questions that are used for surveys, polls, focus group, web browsing, and etc.
Now, let's talk about characteristics of informal observation and questions. Number 1, familiarity. Number 2, observe events simultaneously. Number 3, current observations help select and structure subsequent observation. Number 4, experience and confidence significantly improve effectiveness of observation. Number 5, teaching students who are more familiar to you helps you automate classroom observation. And here are some additional characteristics of informal observation. So, observation often requires inference. Subsequent observations modify earlier observation. Questioning can set up subsequent observation. Questions are obtrusive. Questions have to be interpreted by others. Questions can be directed to individual or groups. You cannot directly observe what students knows or what they are thinking. So now, let's relate this educational assessment to sports to fully explain the importance of using informal observation. Let's have a comparison between a coach and a teacher. So, coach and a teacher. Teaching is focused on the acquisition of new knowledge and skills, but on the other hand, coaching is focused on refining and developing knowledge and skills. For examples, you may teach a new employee for organizational system and process, but you may coach them through improving the process or working on their efficiency.
So, in comparison towards the coach and the teachers, students need their teachers or students rely on their teachers as well as the player rely on their coach. So, students need their teachers in order for them to identify their strengths and their weaknesses, as well as how the players relies on their coaches to identify also their strengths and their weaknesses. So players like students need their teachers to help them to build their talents and increasing their skills in area of a challenge. So it gives them a real-time feedback based on effort rating skills needed for mastery and encourage students.
Good day everyone, I'm Christine, and for these slides, I'm going to tackle the guidelines for using the informal observation. So there are a lot of ways for teachers to record observation for his or her students. So the following are the general guidelines on how to conduct the information of informal observation. So first is use sticky notes to jot down your thoughts and then post them on a chart with the student's name. Prepare a checklist of things you want to look for as a student work. So for this part, the first part is parang mura bitaw siya og kanang mag-take down notes ka kung unsa ang or imong ibutang sa sticky notes kung unsa ang kanang pwede buhaton sa mga estudyante then maghimo kag checklist if kanang ila bitaw na buhat or ilahang something like na discover na nga skill. So second one is carefully collect information from your students' daily experiences. So mag-collect ka og kanang mga information nga imong ma-learn sa mga students para prepared ka nga kung unsa ang imong matabang sa ilang skills, something ana siya. So third is use data from test to supplement your observation. So sa third part, mag-collect daw ka og data para imo bitong masabdan ang ilahang mga skills or unsa imong na-observe sa ilahang mga batasan, something ana. Fourth one is watch the process children go through to master skills, concepts, or contents. Fifth one is ask students to think aloud so you can probe their understanding content and strategy. So for this part, the fifth part is kanang mura bitaw siya og imong ipa think aloud ang estudyante para kung unsa ang ilahang na suggest or unsa ilahang na buo something, pwede na mo siya matabangan, masabtan nimo ang iyahang mga strategies nga gamiton. Sixth one is build students' portfolio to record their performances. So, kabalo naman taon sa portfolio, no? Then, seventh one, the last one is use every possible source of information to create a rich tapestry of assessment. So, magdala ay maggamit ka og every possible source para kanang bitaw ang skill or ang ilang na develop kay dili siya dali mawala kana bitaw murag lig-on siya nga pagka-himo or pagka-buo. That's all. Thank you.
Basic techniques to document observation. Observation and documentation help create a holistic picture of children experiences, development, and learning, and help to support planning that is meaningful to each child. Here are the 9 basic techniques. First is anecdotal records. Is a detailed descriptive narrative recorded after a specific behavior or interaction. Running records is a method of assessing a child's reading level that is specific to the reading recovery approach to the remedial reading instruction. Learning story is a record of what a teacher or parent has seen a child or group of children doing in an early childhood program. Jotting is a brief note memorandum. Sociogram is a graphic representations of social links that a person has. Time samples, an observation of a child is made every 5 minutes over a set of period of time, it usually an hour. It will include the activity the child is engaged in. Event samples are useful for observing behaviors. It can be used for identifying the child's response of certain behaviors, triggers, and interactions. Pictographs are used to represent the data using icons and images. Work samples. Collection of work samples is an effective observation or documentation strategy when children are created useful work that educators can save the portfolios.
And to summarize the 9 basic techniques to document observation, anecdotal records should focus on important details and should be written in the past tense, while running samples is detailing everything during a period of time. So, unlike anecdotal records, running sample should be written in present tense. Next is learning story. So this provide an informative approach of experience an event that is occurred. Next is jotting. So we all know this, and this refers to a brief notes. Next is sociograms, which is the map or diagrams for child interactions. And also time samples is a record of occurrence of child's behavior. Next is event sample. So these are the series of observations of a child response in a particular situation. Next is pictographs. It is a strong proof of observation since it contains of pictures of a child's behavior, or it is a series of pictures of a child. And lastly is a work sample. So it is a collection of work from a child. For example, is their drawings, their paintings, and also their written works. So these are the 9 techniques on how to document your observation towards your pupils or towards your learners.
Anecdotal records. It is a record of some significant item of conduct, a record of an episode in the life of the students, a world picture of the students in action, a word snapshot at the moment of the students, any narration of event in which may be significant about personality. It is an observation written like a short story. They are description of events that are important to the person observing. It is a short, objective, and accurate, and as possible. It is very important because it contains significant records of the students.
So in addition to anecdotal records, it is an informal device used by teachers to record behavior of students as observed by the teacher from time to time. So it also provides a lasting records of behaviors of the students that may be useful later in contributing to a judgment about a student's progress. So let us now move on to checklist and rating scale. So if we say checklist, it is a tool for identifying the presence or absence of a certain knowledge, skills, or behavior. The checklist is a yes or no format. And a rating scale, it is a tool used to assess the performance of students. So the difference of rating scale to a checklist is it provides 4 response selections or more in determining the degree or frequency of a student's behavioral skills. So the 4 response selections of a rating scale is agree, disagree, strongly agree, and strongly disagree. So that's all for today's discussion, and I hope you learned something today. Thank you for listening, and God bless.